morning from Austria, and hello to Victoria is here today. So welcome.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you so much. So today we are going to share your story. We are now working together for like 5 weeks, and we are doing this kind of videos so that people just get an insight on what happened, like what has changed and whatever. So before we start, I want to share with everyone that you did in only 4 days with 5 clients, 22,000 in sales and 18,000 in cash. So my very first question here is, did you ever have 18,000 cash weeks before?
No. I've had like 18,000 or 20K days, but I've never ever had 18,000 in cash in 4 days.
Yeah, and I mean, just to let everyone know, because you are not a beginner, yeah, because you have done your business already for quite a while and you do it already quite successfully. So let's just share with people, let's just share with them a little bit about how your business was doing before we two work together, and even your husband is also working with you. Just like share it with the audience.
Yeah. So my husband, I had this dream about a year ago that he would come and work for me or for us, and he would do all the things I didn't want to do. So I've never ever been techie. I was a hairdresser for 20 years. I've had 2 little children, and I just wanted some help. I wanted to have this big impact in the world without doing particular things. So my husband has now been able to come on board in this last year to be a house dad, to be doing the tech in our business. So all the back end stuff, all the stuff that I don't want to do. And it is absolutely incredible. So we've just scaled. And then we came to Michaela because we wanted to scale again. We wanted to have a bigger impact, but we needed to bring some more kind of structure in. So we needed to bring some more structure. I needed to really, I knew the minute I saw you, Michaela, that I was like, okay, there's something I require to know from you. And as an intuitive medium, as a consciousness coach, as a business coach, I knew that there was something that was required, because there's a difference when you're scaling. There's a difference between having 10K months or 20K months, 50K months, 100K months, and the reach that we're having. So basically what my business looked like before, like, I was very, very happy, very, very successful. But I knew there was a couple of strategies that were like missing. I also knew that there was some structure missing as well, but I didn't quite know what that was. So that is why I came to you, and that are the other things that I got that actually turned from, like I could have a 20K day, but it might be on extended payment plans, right? And that's a thing that was getting a little bit messy. So I had to really kind of hone it down and be more of that kind of in the energy of the 7-figure coach, not just the multiple 6-figure coach.
Okay, we were just not like we were not just being in the energy, we were actually doing stuff. So you just mentioned a really good point here, because you said you did have like a high sales month, but the cash was lower, and also there were like extended payment plans. And can you share with people why you didn't why you didn't have all these pay in full clients before?
Yeah,
so a lot of people can relate to having payment plans, and I feel like you're a perfect example on like how to go like from already being successful, but also like having the cash. So many people just share the sales without sharing the cash, and this is usually the reason, because they don't have the cash there.
Yeah, and I mean, you can do 20K day and have it on a whole entire year payment plan and still not be able to pay the mortgage. Like that's the thing, so that wasn't my case, but that is definitely the case for so many people. And they need to know like the worthiness of being paid in full is huge. Like, and I know for me, it was kind of like, oh, am I worthy enough for people to pay me like thousands of dollars in full? Am I worthy enough? Can they afford it? And I think what happens is you presume that people don't have the money, or you presume that you're not worthy of being paid in full. And then so what happens as an effect of that is, if you don't believe people can pay you in full, or you're not worthy of paying you in full, then they'll pay you on these extremely long payment plans. So they've finished working with you and they're still paying you, and then they stop paying you. They will try to get out of those payment plans. So that's when you end up chasing people for money. And that's when this energy of scarcity comes in, and the work becomes way more intense. And that has actually been one of our experiences as Luke, my husband, and I have worked together. We've gone, these people aren't paying us, and we've already done the work, and oh my gosh, they're literally changing their bank accounts, or they're doing this or they're doing that. And it's not because they didn't get what they paid for, but essentially because the program's finished or whatever, and it's a very extended payment plan, people are fast to move on. So they chasing payment plans, messing around, getting fees, all of that stuff. It was actually taking up a lot of time. And, I was noticing in the back end when I was saying to my husband, like, well, what is going on with this? What is happening with this? And he's like, well, this person isn't paying, or that, what payment plan are they on? Is it the 3, the 6, the 12? And it was like time consuming. So then, of course, when I started working with you and we're doing pay in full, we're getting cash in, then the difference was when people were paying me in cash, and they were like in full as well, they showed up, they were excited, they were like aligned, they had invested themselves, just like I've invested in myself in full over and over again with my coaches and with you, because it's like, well, here we go, I'm investing in myself, the universe knows, I know, and yeah, it just makes it so much more juicy and generative and abundant, because you can be messy, or you can be, this is what it is. So that's kind of like the difference. I don't know if I explained that very well, but there's a big difference between them.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions here, since you mentioned this very well. Do you believe that the painful has an influence on how people would show up in the program?
Yeah, 100%. And this is one of the biggest reasons why I came to you, because the nice person, the nice coach who wants to try and I was the nice coach who wanted to go, I will do anything for you to come into my vortex because I want to help you. That energy there is kind of a bit of ego, to be completely honest with you. It's ego, it's needy, it's kind of creepy a little bit sometimes, because the truth is, like, people can find the money if they're truly choosing it. And the ladies that have come into my Alliance Success Accelerator program, they were like, we will do whatever it takes to work with you, Victoria. So the difference is completely different. So I've got people from all around the world. I've got people from like the Netherlands and the US and New Zealand and Australia, like all around the world. And they're all at different time zones. They're not going to say, look, I can't show up at 10 o'clock at night because it's too late, or 5 o'clock in the morning. I've got a girl who shows up at 5 o'clock in the morning and she's got a baby. She didn't sleep all night and she showed up on our first call, and they're all going, yay, we're excited to be here. So the difference between this business program and other business programs that I've done when I've been coaching them is on the extended payment plans, on the larger courses as well, where there's more fluff to it and it's more emotional and all that type of stuff. People would only show up if they felt like it. It wasn't a big deal. I was charging less, and they were like literally getting 28 million times more videos. And I was going, why are they not doing it? Why aren't they getting results? And I just went through my content today, and it's great content. It's fantastic content, but they weren't investing in themselves with the money. So why would they invest themselves in time? I believe that is like they're directly connected. So having those loose boundaries was massive. So of course I had to turn people away when it came to my Alliance Success Accelerator Academy, because if people couldn't get the money, or they weren't choosing the money, as a spiritual medium, I know that the money will come if you are calling it in, but at the same time, you have to make that choice. So in the past, I would have gone, no worries, I'll make it work for you no matter what. Who am I to say you can't come in? This time I'm like, I know my boundaries, And I know that if people invest in themselves, they're going to show up and they're going to get the results. And that is the reason why I came to you as a coach, because I knew that with having that kind of having that support behind me to really say, okay, you've got to pay in full for this because it's a business program. It really made the difference. And I have less people in this program, but they are very, very aligned to what it is in my genius. So it's a completely different dynamic.
You had less people in there, even less content than you did in your previous courses, but you earned more, and even people will get better results. So it's kind of like a double effect. And you just said it very well. You said with like, no matter what, or only if I feel like, and this is the difference. So my next question to you is, do you believe that that's something you can only like journal about? Because if you compare the process we have been through in the last 5 weeks, there was growth there was there were times where it was not so comfortable for you, and there were times where the patterns were shown. So do you believe, just by, if you would have like compare it what we did, and if you journal that stuff, do you believe you could have like turned this around so quickly with journaling?
No, because I do a lot of journaling. I love journaling. I love all the things, but I needed to be stretched to really, really see and do things that were uncomfortable. So being dyslexic as well, I'd like to distract from doing some of the things that I need to do sometimes. It's one of these things that I do, and to be stretched and to show up and to do the things. And I was doing less on one hand, like way less on one hand, and on the other hand, I was learning a different skill. And that was what I came in for. I wanted to learn a different type of sales skill, and also a strategy to actually show up more. So it's nearly like the shadows do come up that we have to look at, and then we have to go, okay, what is the difference? Is this unalignment? Is this resistance? And then when you push to that resistance, you have to actually look at yourself. So I think, journaling can help, but at the end of the day, when you've got these big shadows coming up, you have to go look at yourself in the mirror, so to speak, and go, what actually is this? What is this pattern? Because growth can be very uncomfortable, and especially if you're wanting to have a massive shift. So I've been trying to get to a point where I have confidence to say to people, no, for a start, or you have to pay in full. And to have the confidence to be able to say that now is priceless, because I know I'll never do another business program. The Aligned Success Accelerator Academy is both. It's energy and it's strategy and whatnot. But unless somebody can pay me in full, or whatever it is, it's never going to be an extended payment plan, because I know the results come from these people committing to me, and I'm very committed to them. So it's an energetic match. So that's the difference.
And the difference also, if you were to ask me, I would say, okay, with this specific program, you just know you're going to deliver, because when we just like before our first session, I remember when you said like, okay, I would have people, they did not show up like regularly, just like only if they felt like showing up. And this is why they didn't create results. And then, of course, this has an impact on your own self-worth. And with this program, everything is so much in alignment, because the program is cut or decluttered to like what actually gives results.
Yeah.
And then we have the people in there from all different time zones that would show up no matter what, and they will get the results. And this will also support your self-worth. And this is actually like a really, really great circle like to have a look at as of now. And when it comes to the marketing, how like I'm not sure if we said this before, but you said like when you launched the program before, how long before would you launch it, and how many times a day would you post, and what happened with this one program now?
Yeah. So just on what you said real quick as well, is The people that have come into my vortex now are doing the homework. I just wanted to add on to this because it's something that I haven't had before. They messaged me today. They're like, I love this so much. They did the homework on their specific genius and all the different things. And they like literally are pumping. Like I've never had people that are showing up going, give me more, this is amazing, like that. They're feeding into it because they're so aligned. That's huge, right? So yeah, what would actually happen is when I was launching in the past, because I was like, I want 20 people, or I want 10 people, or I want this. And this is a difference. I didn't have the specific numbers, what I was wanting to call in with this group, because it was about alignment. What I would do is I would start launching about a month before, and I would want to show a lot of know, like, and trust. I would want to really pull people in. I would be reaching out to people because I'm a psychic medium. I'm also a projector in the human design. I know what people need, right? So then I'd be like reaching out to people and I'd be like, you can do this, you can do this. So it was kind of like, it was kind of a happy hustle, where this was very different because this launch, it wasn't like a month. The people that signed up with me, some of them were already in my vortex, but they were on phone calls saying yes to me before I had even told the world that the Aligned Success Accelerator Academy was being born. So they're saying yes before I was even saying, so the program is called. They were like, yeah, we want to work with you. We want to know what you're doing. We want to do what you're doing, because they were reading my energy and they knew that I had something solid, that a tangible result that I could help them get. So it's a much different launch.
They were kind of like, all right, it doesn't matter what it is. I throw my money at you. I want to work. I want to be part of that because I know it's going to be my program.
Yeah, they said I chose it. So one of my clients who's in one of my masterminds, she said, the program that you've got, she's like, energetically, I'm in it. I don't know what it is. I will find the money. So she went and put it on her credit card, right? In the past, Victoria would have been like, oh, she's putting on a credit card. Oh no, what if she doesn't sell out her program or something? The now Victoria was like, oh, she's committed. Because you know what? I've gone into my tax account to pay coaches. I have borrowed money to pay coaches. And every single time it is paid off, every single time I have like 10x to my money, it might not be right then, but I know that I'm going to 10x that money because I've got that unshakable faith. And that was what I was calling in, was people that had a little bit of skin in the game. So therefore they were attracted to me. Some people weren't quite ready for it and they were saying yes, but at the same time, I had that confidence to go, when you are ready, I'm here. And that's the difference between the last time I was needy, going, come in, come in, come in. And I might jump on 3 calls with somebody to help them. This time, someone did actually say to me, oh, I'm not sure. So I jumped on a call with them. And the minute they doubted, I said, you're out. And with love, you're out with love, because I'm not willing to jeopardize my incredible, beautiful, aligned program for the money. So I ended up with not 20 people. I ended up with much less, but I was so happy. I was like, these people are the people. And it's because I didn't put those limitations of how many people I needed in there. Before, I needed 20 people to bring in the money. And also because I wanted to have all this reach, which was ego, where this was different because it was like, this program is my passion project. I'm putting time and energy into it. I'm putting homework in. It is all beautiful. I've never put so much time into a program. And so it is very sacred. It's like a sacred. So I don't know if that answers your question. It's just completely different energy brought into it as well.
Yeah. So it makes all perfect sense. And I remember when we decluttered your program that you had there before, then it was really like, okay, suddenly it became a match even to your genius, yeah? Because you are really, really strong when it comes to sales. And here's again my next question, like, how were you taught sales before? Did you even do sales, or were you kind of like, oh no, let's just throw out the inspiring content to people because it's all just about the energy? Like, how did you perceive sales before and now?
So about a year and a half ago, if someone wanted to jump on a sales call with me, it was a deal, right? It was like, oh, someone's on a sales call. Now I could have like 5 in a day and I'd be like, okay, cool, let's have a chat. And I'd know what to do. But before, like, especially a year and a half ago, so I've had a lot of experience and process coming up until now. Now I'm a lot clearer, but I would end up making friends with them, over giving. They'd end up having a free call. I actually talked about this in a recent masterclass, and one of the girls on there was like, oh my gosh, she messaged me afterwards and said, you did that with me. And now I realize, because I was saying, I'm sorry, overgiving, man, like this overgiving didn't help anybody. So I would basically overgive until I was tired, give them a free coaching session for an hour and a half or 45 minutes, jump off. Or the worst thing was 2 in one day. It was about 9 months ago. These 2 people wanted to talk to me. I think they got my clarity call link off my podcast. And what they did was they jumped on the call. They talked at me for 45 minutes. I was sitting there going, okay, just listen. I sat back and I listened to them. And at the end of it, I said, so would you like to know about the program? And they go, yeah, nah, I don't really have the money right now. And then they're like, see you later, maybe in the future. And I was like, what? And I said to my husband, people are ringing me, and it was 2 in one day, to dump on me like a counselor. And that's a part of my human design as well. I'm very I can listen very well. And what happened was this other lady, she's in America, she's just dumping all over me. And then all of a sudden she's like, the phone starts cracking out. She goes, I voice message her, so did you want to know about the program? And she's like, I don't think she ever messaged me back. And I was like, that's it. I need to be way more when it comes to authority. I need to be more in my empowerment of like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about today to see if you're a fit. So I got very, very clear working with you. Even though I wasn't as bad as I was, I got a lot clearer to say, okay, this is a sales call. It's not going to go over this certain amount of time unless, of course, something is happening and we're, too many like conversations that you're just sitting there. What do we do now? So I also learned, it's completely different. And now I've also learned to filter people. So one thing I wasn't doing, and this is something that I learned with you, is I was having all these people booked in, and then they wanted to chat with me just to connect. And I'm not here to do that. I'm here to coach. Like, I've got a family, I've got a life. Let's do it. Right. And so what I learned was, when I read the energy of some of these people, I messaged them and I said, hey, look, this is actually a clarity call, which means to see if we can work together. So, and they'll be like, oh, I can't invest. So I'd be like, okay, well, come back when you can, because I'm not here to do free coaching. So getting kind of concise with my boundaries and bringing in that authority and having that confidence to do that is a huge thing for me. So I got very clear on that.
If you compare like your messaging or the way your calls went, because I remember when we walked through your messages the first time, do you notice the difference now between being in friend zone, being like the overgiver, connecting to people, rather than like really being in your own authority? Like, do you notice the difference now?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. One thing is, because I'm very particular about people who are in my energy. I'm very, very, like I said, I'm very, very psychic. So I'm very particular about who's in my energy. So if people were always wanting to jump in and have chats to me and like just connect, I'm like, I've got a family, I've got friends, I've got amazing connections. I'm not real keen to be making friends all over the show. So I know that can sound a bit crazy, but I'm here to serve the world, right? So I want to do that in a way that I am helping people. So when I get too fluffy or backwards and forwards for no reason, it's just like it's not generative. So I noticed that my messaging is completely different, and my marketing, because if I'm giving too much fluff, so to speak, without actually saying, hey, actions, because I'm a very action type of girl, then what I'd be doing is I'm attracting the people in that just want to have those conversations and those connections, which, like I just said, I'm not actually choosing to do that. I'm choosing to serve the world in a highest frequency, not to make 10 million friends, because I've already got friends. You know what I mean? So the difference in that messaging is legit much different, because to help people, we don't want to be friending every single person. We want to be able to coach them. So your coach is never your friend. Your coach is a person to help guide you. And I think that's the difference that I've brought into my messaging as well.
So, and when it comes to the actions, because you said you're very action driven and you're just like such a goal getter, yeah? So would you say it always felt like, oh, this is alignment, or was it kind of like the growing process, the growing into your own authority of like, okay, every growth comes with like growth pain, because when we're a child and with children and we grow, yes, something is going to hurt. So would you say you have seen the patterns in the actions, and even in the actions of like when you at the beginning were kind of like in the friend zone, and then like authority, and then it's kind of like one day this side, then the next day this side. It was kind of like a back and forth until you really grounded into that authority. So would you say in this phase you would become really aware of your own patterns?
Yeah, I became aware of my own patterns and my own strengths. So there's the two parts of it. So patterns that would come up to me is like, I definitely had a couple of tantrums, because sometimes I don't want to do particular things that a CEO has to do, which sounds silly, but like I said at the very beginning, my husband is like, does the computer stuff for me and helps me out with the kids. And I'm very, very lucky. I've created a life where my husband does the things for me. Like, he doesn't go to his normal electrician job. I'm no longer a hairdresser. We're like cranking in business. But sometimes I do have to sit down and do things like the program I really want it specifically incredible. So I'm going to have to work sometimes on it, right? It's not always lattes and beaching out. We have to actually put energy in as well, even though I do like lattes and beaching. So when the patterns came up, when you actually have to show up and you have that little tantrum, I had to like really look at myself and go, hang on a minute. Or when I had to do copy, being dyslexic, like actually putting thought into my messaging. And I'm still doing that. It's going to be a forever thing for me, where I've got to sit down and put thought into it rather than just throwing it at the wall, which is what I've done previously to get to my 50K months, was I throw it all out there and some sticks and it's amazing. But this was more specific, because the one piece of content, rather than 50 pieces of content, that's the kind of difference between what we went through. But it really did bring up shadows and patterns and being stretched, because if any time that you're trying to like jump up, monetary wise or with clients, and expand, basically it comes with a little bit of resistance, especially if you're talking about money. So people would get triggered with me, and I was like, yay, be triggered. So I'd say to my clients, now we can talk, because now they're bringing up their patterns. I dealt with my patterns, and it has a flow-on effect. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's this is what happens when you stretch and when you are trying to kind of rise up and do leaps in your business. So definitely.
And I always say, with every next level comes a new devil. This is just the way it is, because when people grow, yes, patterns will always be there. And but the thing is, like, if you compare like millionaires, yes, they have gone through the growing phases. Yes, they have gone through the pains and whatever, but they kept going. And here is a really, really big thing of like the consistency, because you said it. You just said it. Okay, the way you do marketing right now, this is gonna be a forever thing, because before you threw out like just what felt good and 50 pieces of content, and now it's like, really, okay, the time will be invested in one piece, but this one piece will convert. And I believe, like, is there anything else you wanna tell to people where you say like, okay, this has changed for me dramatically, and just like your famous last words?
Yeah, so I think like what happened to me is I was asking for something. I was asking for the strategy that I did not have. I was asking them to also to see this world of coaches and the people in it. So I wanted to go from my little niche area to worldwide. And that was one of the reasons why I've done this, because I wanted to go worldwide. I wanted to bring Americans in and people from the UK. And I really, that was a big thing for me, is to my reach to get bigger, right? To bring in more money, to bring in more cash, because I knew that if I was going to be on payment plans for the rest of my life, then I wasn't actually looking at that shadow of I'm worthy to be paid in full. So there was a couple of those things I really wanted to do. So for anybody out there who is stuck in the payment plans, they're not worthy to up their prices. So for me, that wasn't a thing. I'd work through that. But for those of you who don't think that you're worthy to pay to charge the thousands of dollars, or to put out yourself boldly out there, or to talk about money or sex or anything really, you have to do it, because if you're not willing to show up, then you won't attract those clients that are basically going to be like magnetized to you if you show up to who you are. So that is the biggest thing. And I know I required some help to really open myself up to be seen and to be judged, because one of the biggest things, I've always known this, but this was another layer, is when my current clients are coming up to me saying they're triggered when I'm talking about money and how much money I've made. That's when I say, yay, now we can work together. Now we can actually do the proper work, because I know it's got nothing to do with me, because I'm allowed to talk about what I want to talk about and be bold. And if people get triggered, at least something's going to happen. So that is kind of like being bold and beautiful and unapologetic, and also humble and in your own authentic self and integrity. I think you can't go wrong. You can only thrive.
All while not losing boundaries, because this was a really big topic before, because the boundaries is usually what people do not have in their business, because as you said it, like the content is less, but the delivery is more, and this is what it comes down to. So Victoria, thank you so much, and congrats again on having 22,000 in sales and 18,000 in cash in only 4 days. This is phenomenal. So I hope you're going to celebrate yourself. I believe you did it already throughout the week. So enjoy that result, enjoy your business, and I will get to speak to you soon. Have a great day.